Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 2 vs 2 on Colleville, and in this one I'm going to be playing the 716th Infantry Division, and I'm joined by Valh, who is going to be playing the 116th Panzer Division. We're playing against a 101st and 1st Polish Divisions, and this was a game that was a 2v2 ranked. So this is potentially a quite competitive game. That was the whole idea of playing this, of course. Myself and Val decided to jump in for some 2v2 ranked and see what we could get out of it. So this was quite an interesting game. This was the first game that we played as a pair. So I'll just talk through our strategy. And basically we took each town. It's pretty simple on Colleville. One person takes one side, one person takes the other. You can do sort of combined, like, oh, we'll take care of the whole map together, but generally you take the side which prefers your battle group. So in my case, I'm going to be attacking my opponent. So I'm going to be relying on the slow rolling Osttruppen artillery suppression to get through the town, and that's so that I'm going to be taking the left side where the opposing side has more time to get defenses in. Whereas on the right side, where Val's, if he gets up to 50-50, is more likely to be fighting over the open, his Wundhund deck is going to be a lot more useful. He also has a lot less infantry available in Phase A, so he's not going to be able to push forwards with his infantry, he's going to be using it defensively. And he's going to be bringing up some MG42s alongside some infantry, command infantry, and recon, and a Panzer III there. Over on this left side, literally just Osttruppen, MG42, command infantry with a mortar, and then I've got an IG-18 here. We just speed things up. We'll see more of the units go down. Taking out a couple of AT guns, one for the center to help defend that, one for the left side to cover the left side of the town. Each of those is going to have an Osttruppen accompanying it, and then I've got an MG42 as well to assist on the right side here. So we're off. Val didn't really add too much more to his start. He just added another Panzer Grenadier unit. It is useful to note that all of his Panzer Grenadiers are high experience, so they do a lot of damage, that's for sure. But here on this left side, just trying to make as much ground as I can. I've dropped off the mortar, and what that's going to do is cover off me with smoke, so that I'm able to get my units into position where I want them to be without being fired upon down the road. So just smoking off my Osttruppen and getting them as far up as possible, getting my MG34 into position. This one's already in position here. Grenadier is in position, and I've got Pak 37 also covering the road as well, in case anything tries to push all the way through. So Osttruppen jumping into their buildings. Yes, this kind of helps them. I'm playing against the 101st player, I find out, on this left side, which is quite scary for the 716th, but either way, the engagement opens up, and it's pretty damn loud as multiple MG34s are firing away and being fired upon by 50 cals and the 30 cals of the airborne rifles. I've got an IG-18 deployed on the right side that is providing some fire support onto these 50 caliber machine guns, but 2-star 50 caliber machine guns pretty difficult to deal with, and you can see the IG-18 there is going to get pinned down. I also have my MG-34 providing some fire support long range from this building as well, and of course I have my mortar which can be used to fire into the town. MG34 on the left side is providing some fire, and then I've got the pack on the left just holding the ground here. Furthermore, I've got some Fusiliers. These could have been jumping into the fight, providing their MG34, but so far not too much going on. Just bringing up some more IG-18s to engage at range. Now in this case, what happened was I let my IG-18 get within the 800 meter range of these 50 caliber machine guns, whereas the effective range of IG-18s is actually 1,000 meters. So you can engage these machine gun squads, for example, from out of their own range, which is something to note and take advantage of. So I have lost one unit of Osttruppen already that was pushed up. Actually, 2 squads of Osttruppen have already died to the MG40 or the 50 caliber machine guns and the airborne rifles. In general, that is going to happen. Osttruppen will die much quicker than airborne rifles and a 50 caliber machine gun is going to die. But I've got my IG-18 up here, and I've got another IG-18 moving up the left side to assist me with killing more of these airborne rifles. So the idea is that the Osttroopen hold the line, stop the opponents from moving through the buildings, and then the IG-18 comes in and stuns them and kills them. That's how it works. In the center of the map, 2 M22 Locusts. I'm engaging them with my Pak-37, and I'm also going to be bringing up another AT gun from spawn to help me out there. But what ends up happening is my Pak-37 actually gets a killing blow onto an M22 Locust, and that's going to make the other one fall back. And I think I actually end up transmission damage there and end up getting the kill as well. So that's like 2 M22 Locusts neutralized in the center anyway. And we're continuing this engagement on the left side, but since more things are getting pinned down over here thanks to the IG-18s, the engagement's quietened down, and there goes the second Locust on that side. Valh's playing very defensively on the right side. He's up against the the 1st Armoured Polish Division. Anything that tries to come towards him here, you see a 3-star machine gun squad going to rip to shreds the Dragoni there as they come forwards. Ideally, the opponent should have been using smoke there, but I'm just going to be spamming more Osttroopen into the town now to secure my position here. Now I have all of my fire support into position in the form of these IG-18s. I'm quite happy to just spam Osttroopen into the town and try and make some ground. Noticing there's not much up on this left side, I do bring up some Osttroopen to take care of that and secure that. And he's going to start to fall back with his airborne rifles here, since my IG-18s are just too much. Pinning him down, if my Osttroopen start to move up, he's literally just going to lose them all to surrender. So, rightly so, he's just falling back here, making sure that's not going to happen. And that's going to allow me to actually move forward more Osttroopen. However, what tends to happen with this deck, because you have so many Osttroopen available throughout the game, what you do is you never move forward your like entrenched Osttroopen, you just bring up more. So in this case, 5 units of Osttroopen. This is the equivalent of 1 minute of requisition points, 5 more Osttroopen. So these guys are pinned down. I don't want to move them up because they might surrender. So I'm just going to bring up some fresh guys to take the buildings that the airborne rifles run away from. IG-18 still busy firing away, MG-34 is going as well, Pak-40 is helping out pin down the 50 cal squad, so that was useful. And over on this right side, well, yeah, again, Valh still holding. We're currently at a 50-50 at the moment, no one's got any points on anybody. Quite an achievement really. We are currently 6 minutes into the game and nobody has got a single conquest point, so yeah. Either way, I am creeping forwards and poking holes in the enemy lines. My IG-18 is still firing away and pinning down enemy units, and here come the Osttroopen to reinforce. 50 cal is going to be opening up on the left side. I do destroy one of the 50 caliber machine gun squads now, but with the reinforcing Osttroop arriving, I'm going to slowly start making ground here. Now still holding where he needs to, just playing it defensively until he gets some decent armor on the field. So more Osttroopen pushing up even further here. IG-18's actually moving alongside my Osttroopen at pretty close range, honestly, to fire on these airborne rifles. Since they are pinned, I am able to push on like this, and with the front line swinging back, we do make 2% of the ground. IG-18s, they're just such good support vehicle or support units, and in this case, Fusilier squad can see an airborne leader here, and we're going to be hitting that with the IG-18 there. IG-18 then turns to attack the Pathfinders, and here I'm pushing towards the Osttroopen to help kill the airborne leader, which was then finished off by the IG-18. Over here, again IG-18 killing more infantry. And this is like the perfect combination of units. So Grenführer, Osttroopen, Fusilier, IG-18s. Really, really strong combination. Not really much they can do about this. I've even brought up more Osttroopen here, supporting more IG-18s. And yeah, anything that comes out in the open, all these Pathfinders, literally just going to get torn to pieces by all of these IG-18s. And these Osttroopen are literally here to stop stuff flooding through the tree line on the left side and us losing ground. So we're starting to make ground now quite heavily. Some of my units are being forced to fall back, which is unfortunate. But still hitting them hard with IG-18s. And that's pretty much the story of this game so far. Mortar squad at the back side is a pretty nice addition to their defense. They have been using them throughout the game so far, but they are definitely good for pinning down and taking out my Ostropen, but they should really be focusing my IG-18s because they are the things doing the damage. Over on the right side, Valh's poking holes in his opponent's defense now. He's got his APCs moving forwards. He's got a Marder 3 here that's been used to clean up some of the armor. And he's also got this 250-10 as well, which has got 5 AP. He's used that to kill a few things here and there. Mine's very attritional though. Like, I'm trying to make ground through this town, and I have already made a little bit of ground. Anything that reveals itself now though is going to get hit by the MG34 down the road, and also the IG-18. Now, IG-18s in cover actually survive pretty well, but this one here hasn't died yet. These Fusiliers are still surviving against the 50 cal, and I'm just moving up the Ostropen to push forwards the line on the left side. And currently we're on a 57% lead because Val's making so much ground in the center of the map. I've actually managed to move forwards a unit of Fusiliers as well. It sort of leads the way for my Pak 37 to move up, but over on the right side, this Panzer Grenadier making us a lot of ground as well, since that right flank was completely undefended. Airborne Rifle's going to surrender there after they get hit by another IG-18 shot, and more infantry coming up. So more Ostropen, another command unit. Since I'm spreading out my infantry a bit more in preparation for Phase B off-map artillery, I'm bringing up a second command unit so that I can keep the extra command stars on all of my units. And I'm bringing up another IG-18 here, and I'm also bringing up a Panzer B2. Again, another addition to my army, mainly because that's like the only thing that can't be blown up by off-map at this point. It can, and probably if it gets direct hit, but it's less likely that that's going to happen. So I'm moving that up the road here to basically solidify my advantage, and that's what I find tanks are really for in this deck. You can use a B2, like I could have used one earlier, to try and push down the road, but I wanted to be sure that there wasn't any AT guns before I started doing that. So since my opponent is falling back, and I've killed a lot of his expensive infantry, I'm just continuously trying to move forwards with the Ostropen, and in this case, his mortar actually runs out of ammo and suicide charges towards us. I think they really need to fix that in the game. When, like, mortars run out of ammunition, they shouldn't walk forwards. What ends up happening here is my opponent drops off a load of units onto the right side, and I have no idea why. Why would you do this? So he's got, like, all of these squads of airborne rifles, I'm assuming, and they're just, like, approaching the right side of the town, and they're just walking into the fire support of my B2. My B2's rolled up here. I guess they don't believe that my IG-18s or anything can get line of sight just yet, but B2 certainly can, and that's going to start to rip to shreds all of these airborne rifles, even the 50 cal there, and all of these guys. Well, look at this killing field. IG-18s firing in there, mortars coming in there. I don't know if he was just suiciding units at this point, but it wasn't a very well organised reinforcement, that's for sure, as I'm able to just crush his units with the mortar support. Valh brings in his ME-109 with the rockets as well, and that kills off a lot of men, even burns the airborne leader to death. So not a very nice end for that chap. And yeah, I don't know, it's just, I don't know what happened, because at the beginning of the game I thought that he was playing relatively well. You know, he had his front line secured the whole way across. He was even pushing me on the left side, but when his reinforcements came in all bunched up together like that, it literally just gave me the lead entirely on this left side, and Valh's making room in the middle. You know, he's got some half-tracks probing up there, and he's still got this Panzer Grenadier unit on the right that's not being contested. So we're currently running the +2 with 63% lead. He's got some mobile wagons Valh has at the moment, and this is where the opponents don't have much of a chance of coming back into this game, because it's really hard for, like, the Polish player to push back in this situation. The 101st, not so much. Like, 101st player, he can use off-map artillery, and an off-map artillery at this point on, like, this area would crush, like, those Ostropen, the Grenadier. Wouldn't necessarily kill the B2, but he can deal with that in other ways. He does have the cheapest AT guns in the game, so A B2 shouldn't be able to just sit there and kill his stuff, but in this case it does. Either way, I'm bringing up a Flak 88 as well, and that's driving up the middle of the road here just to provide a T against any tanks he brings in. And he is going to bring in an M4, which is fine for trying to deal with a B2, but the B2 has two guns. It has its main gun, and it also has its 9HE power gun. And both of those guns together can, like, just really just force an M4 Sherman back straight away. And what's going to happen here is I actually weapon damage the M4, so that's completely neutralized now until it gets resupplied. And I've actually brought up a Flak 88 in the middle of the street here, which looks really cool, but that's just going to you know, attempt to help me crush these airborne rifles. I'm also using the unit here, the half track, to help pin down with its MG42 as well. An off map right now would have been perfect for this situation. Let's have a look if our opponent was bringing one in. No, he was spending money on M4 Shermans, which is okay in certain situations, but not when he can see that I have a Flak 88 and also a Panzer. Like, yes, this Panzer does lose to an M4 in theory, but the two guns, you mustn't forget about the two guns. So my opponent, if he had an off map, this would have been a completely different game. I was wondering at this point why he brought in the 101st to not use off map, because I don't know, I just wasn't really playing around it because I hadn't seen it come in yet. So just bringing up another Flak 88 here. It's actually going to be deployed pretty close to my other one. This one's just going to be dropped off there to kill off the Sherman, and well, boom. That shot down the road there. Flak 88 in a really nice position, and this was the point where I was actually having fun just looking at the game in general. I've made some ground on this left side since his left side push just disintegrated, and I've managed to get some Osttrooping up there to capture that left side. Val's still basically in the same old place where he was on the right side, but I'm just crushing this guy one unit at a time, and yeah, he's not having a good time. But it was just really, really fun watching these Flak 88s on the street here slam the opposing units as they came up the road, or as they you know, just came into view in general. And also they're helping with these Mustangs now, so Valh can quite happily continue to use his ME-109s without having to worry. And since we have reached Phase B, here comes my Italian infantry just to secure my lead. So that's coming up as well. And yeah, things are just going from bad to worse for the opponents right now. +3 in our favour. Off-map artillery nowhere to be seen. Flak 88 charges into, or M4 Sherman charges into my Flak 88, so that happens, and now I'm continuing to move towards these airborne rifles. Let's get you back to the neutral perspective. Here is the off-map artillery. Finally, it's here. Okay. That should have definitely been brought in sooner. So I have a concentration of 2 Flak 88s, that would be the first target for an off-map. And then my concentration of Italian infantry that I've just brought in. Again, I wasn't playing around it because we're well into Phase B. It's almost 7 minutes and I haven't seen off-map yet, so I wasn't sure that my opponent even had it on the deck or on the battle group, and I've managed to make so much ground, but in comes the off-map artillery, and boom goes half my shit. This is where I realise, oops, yeah, probably should have respected that. Both my Flak 88s are dead. Half my infantry got instantly annihilated, and rip my stuff, pretty much. By the way, Flak 88 on the right still doing a decent job. It's come up against an M8 Scott, and, well, boom to that. And it also managed to kill off a unit of infantry on the left side. So, even though that artillery strike absolutely smashed my bolt hole in, it didn't matter, because I still have all of this infantry that's suppressing and killing off his infantry. And yeah, second artillery strike onto all this lot would be pretty devastating, but I still have like so much stuff behind. I've got an MG34 squad here. I've still got squads of Osttrooping from before, because like I was saying, this this deck doesn't work by like moving the current stuff you have forwards. It works by bringing in more stuff that you put in front of your current stuff. And here comes the next artillery strike, which was totally fair enough. I'm just bringing in more infantry now to to help me out. Although I am running pretty low, so I am also using my second B2, and that's coming up the road right now. But this artillery can't kill B2s, so I'm quite happily going to use them to hold the line until this off-map artillery is dealt with. And even on this left side, you know, I'm still making ground, so this is where off-map artillery kind of fails, because he's let me get like such a lead across the entire map. He can't focus like 10 places at once because he doesn't have enough off-map artillery to focus here, focus here, focus here, and therefore, you know, he's not going to be able to push back against me. However, he does make a good move of reinforcing just after the artillery is finished, and I think it was a barrage, so it was hitting me like slowly. It did manage to kill off the infantry there quite nicely. But yeah, second B2 coming up. I still have the concentration stuff on this right side. Probably shouldn't have had these two AT guns so close to each other, but that was just a bit of a mistake on my part. But yeah, B2, just going to hold the line against the airborne rifles quite nicely. Don't want to let it get too close to the bazooka because that's already getting into 200 meter range, and that bazooka into the front armor of a B2 is not going to end very well. So got to be a little bit careful about that. But there is quite a lot of fire support here to cover off my B2s. Just literally using B2s to yeah, hold the ground, like I said. And any unit that shows itself is going to get hit by the overwhelming fire support of those. Pathfinder squads finding themselves in enemy territory. 3 Pathfinder squads right on top of each other. Don't do this, boys. Just don't. Not a good idea. Because look what happens. Panzer B2. Got the Pack 40. I've got the B2 here. Any shot that comes in isn't just hitting one squad, it's hitting 3 squads, and well, off-map artillery is going to kill another Flak 88, but that's not too much of an issue. I still maintain so much ground, and on the right side, since we've moved into phase C and Valh actually has some decent tanks, he's starting to roll his enemy pretty hard, and we're currently at a +4 with 76% territory. And I think you guys might be wondering why I'm showing you guys this game, because it has turned into quite a lot of like a rollover, and as soon as I saw like all of the infantry clumped up, I knew that my opponents weren't necessarily that great at the game. It's just basically this game was a good example of like how you win and lose games, and also just like how to use this deck in general. I really have been enjoying this game, and I let you guys know about that during my Battle Group overview, and I think this is another game that just demonstrates how effective it can be, just running into enemy firepower and it not really affecting you too much, because I haven't lost the ground. You know, I have the B2s to hold the ground. This VulcanHDGPkZDhkiE OP after its use was just driven through my lines, which is fair enough. Does get hit by an IG-18 and doesn't die, which was quite amusing. Well, that was an IG-33, sorry, with 27 HE power, and it didn't blow up a truck, so what can you do? So I just bring in the MG40 or MG34 there to kill it. Valh cheekily tries to kill the kill, or steal the kill, just for a laugh, but ends up just surrendering to my half-track anyway before it dies, so there you go. Valh, don't try that one again, because I'll win every time. IG-18, just going to be finishing off these Pathfinders quite happily, just slamming those alongside the B2. And yeah, it's pretty much game over with 82% territory lead with a +4. Ju-88 just add insult to injury from Valh. 2 25 HE power bombs there, just again just trying to take more of my kills. We jump to the neutral perspective. The player on the left side has a howitzer left. The player on the right side has nothing left, and just one unit of recon just sat here wondering where all his teammates have gone. Yeah. Game over, boys, that's for sure. So there you have it. That is pretty much game. This was the actually no, I think this was the second ranked game we played, and I didn't manage to record the first one because the game actually crashed on me and Valh had to win the game on his own, but it was against the same people. This was the second game. and this is the one that I ended up showing you guys. So yeah, 716th. I think early on the strategy was good. It helped me crush his airborne rifles and stuff, and I think he had a decent strategy going into the start of the game. This is my opponent, the 101st player, but it just didn't work out. But either way, after 23 minutes and 8 seconds, myself and Valh win with the 2,500 conquest points. If we jump to the team perspective, I actually lost quite a lot of stuff. Valh did very well, 1,635 kills to 745 losses. I was 1,815 kills to 1,215 losses. Most of these losses were flak 88s. If you think of the amount of flak 88s I lost about 3 of them to artillery strikes, and you just can't afford to let that happen against the 101st. Like, if that guy wasn't grouping his infantry so much, then we wouldn't have had such an easy time winning that game, because his infantry would have held me back from pushing on him, and then his artillery would have just pushed me back and he would have been able to move on to me. However, he conceded too much ground in phase A for that to matter, honestly, I feel, anyway. But it didn't help that he grouped his infantry as well. So yeah, here's the off-map kill list. The rest of his stuff didn't actually do too much. It was literally the off-map that got him all of his kills. Flak 88, flak 88, flak 88. All of this Italian infantry. It's quite expensive infantry, this. And then some Osttruppen, Grenführer, mortar squad. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Just all in the naval battery. And if we look at losses, well, again, IG-18s. Really, really good unit. Never neglect these chaps. They actually ended up taking out the enemy mortars for me. This IG-18 taking out 2 Pathfinder and an airborne leader. This Panzer B2, really, really useful unit in the right situation, and you can see that tore apart multiple units because they all got caught out in the open there. My flaks did actually pay themselves off against the M4 Shermans, but there shouldn't have been a single M4 Sherman in that fight. I don't think the 101st player should have brought those in at all. But yeah, they actually kind of all paid themselves off. It just, I shouldn't have lost them so easily. That was the main issue. Shouldn't have had them so close together. So there are still things to learn from this game, especially like playing the 716th. And as we move into the next 2v2 ranked game that I'll be showing you guys, there's a lot more to learn there as well. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one. Again, it was my first recorded 2v2 ranked game with Valh, and there'll be plenty more of these on the channel once we continue to play more games. But for now, that's all, so thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.